All right. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Football Centres podcast. We are joined today by a very special guest, Brandon O'Neill. Welcome, Brandon. Thanks for coming on.
No, you're more than welcome. Thanks for having me on, lads.
No worries. Dino with a very big beard going on here.
Boys, I told you, it's isolation beard. It's going to continue. It's not coming off. I told you right now. It's not coming off.
Reese hasn't done the hair today. He's got a beanie on. Reese, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. I was a bit lazy
I
with
like,
the
I like
and
the
the hair.
beanie, Reece. Yeah, I like the beanie.
It's a little bit chilly here today, so it suits the occasion.
That's it. So, Brandon, tell us, how is life in South Korea? Because, is there anything you expected, or how's it at the moment?
Well, look, I kind of have to put it into perspective with things, kind of what's happening back home. Obviously, I've got a lot of mates that play football back home, and they're doing it a bit tough at the minute. Obviously, there's talk about the league and stuff starting back in August, which would be really good, but it's still a few months away with salary and pay and training sessions still up in the air, what they're going to do. And yeah, first and foremost, I'm just so fortunate to be in this position here in South Korea, which our league's starting this weekend. And I've had I feel like it's a bit of a privilege to be able to live a normal life since I come back here. I was back in Australia when Corona kind of hit. So me and my wife were a bit worried about getting back here, but thankfully with the help of the club, we managed to get back here, and we've been here for just over a month now. And I've pretty much just had a crash course in a Korean pre-season to get me up to speed for this weekend. And but yeah, more importantly, I'm just so thankful and so lucky to be in this position that I'm able to play a normal season game, a competitive game, and still be all right to go this weekend.
For sure. And how is that Korean pre-season compared to an A-League pre-season?
Yeah, she's a belter. She's an absolute belter. When you come back, I kind of experienced it in my first little stint here before going back to Australia. But when I was back in Australia, just because of personal reasons, I didn't really have much time to train. So I kind of lost all that fitness I had first kind of time back here in Korea. So yeah, it's just 6 days a week, probably 4 or 5 double session dailies, a game thrown in on the weekend either together, or probably the last couple of weeks we've had a 90-minute game. And yeah, it's literally more is better. And then more is better. And then if you're not doing more, you need to do more. It's incredible. Like, these Korean chaps over here physically are just insane. Like, they can go and go and go. And like, you look at them and you think, you're mad. There has to be something wrong with you. There has to be, because they genuinely just are programmed to work until they can't work anymore. They get an injury, and then they'll have their little bit of a rest, and then they'll just go again. I think it's just the Korean way of life. So whilst I'm over here, I'm just embracing it. I'm just giving it as best to go as I can, embracing the way they want to train, they want to work, their playing style. I'm just trying to lap it up as much as possible. I know it's difficult because we come from a culture here in Australia where things are totally different. So adjusting and adapting to it all may take a little bit of time, but that's all right. I'm here to learn and to get better, and so far I've quite enjoyed it. Like, it's bad sometimes when I'm training and I'm playing, like I smile and I laugh because the ideas are so out there and so crazy, and I try my best not to come across as I'm laughing at them or laughing at what they're doing, because it's just something I've never really been used to, this way of doing things. But yeah, so far so good. I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome.
So, Brando, just from me, you were talking about the fitness levels of the boys over there. Does that mean, I know you haven't played many games over there yet, but is your team like a high pressing team? Do they want to get the ball back quickly, or is it just a bit like, hey, look, do what you need to do, run wherever you need to run, and just go and score a goal? That's it. Is there any tactical thought behind it?
There's a little bit. We do practice tactics and formation, and I think a lot of the Koreans are the same. They do practice a little bit here and there. Predominantly, they bank on their technical ability and their physical ability. Like, if they can outwork a team and out kind of play a team with individual brilliance, then normally the manager's happy with that. On on another side, tactically wise, our team is, when we lose the ball, probably in the first 3 or 4 seconds, we press and we try to win the ball back. But if we don't, we kind of drop back. We press when, over here in Korea, you don't have a kind of a team way of pressing. You kind of, it's kind of like stay with your man. You know what we've been used to in possession. They run everywhere and you just follow your man. And if he goes out wide, you have an obligation to go with him. So as a midfielder, defensive midfielder, if a number 10 is drifting here, there and everywhere, I'm just told, go with him, stay. If he has the ball, press him. If we do win the ball, within the first 2 or 3 seconds, our game plan is just to counter-attack, just go as soon as we can. Our 2 wingers kind of know once we win the ball, they just run. We get the ball out wide and we pretty much go from there. Like I was saying before, it's adapting to that is a whole beast in itself, because in Australia, you know, like when we win the ball in the A-League, we kind of have a bit more time. We kind of win the ball. We play the first pass simple. And then all of a sudden, both teams kind of get their shape, their structure back, and you have build up. You try
to break them down.
Exactly, 20, 30 passes where you can practice your rotations, you can get the ball, you can play out wide into the pocket. Where Korea is very transitional. You win it and you just go. And speaking to foreigners over here, probably in the first half and the first half of the second half, it's the tempo of the game is really high. Because both teams play like that. They win the ball and they go and they try to catch the other team out. Probably in the last half an hour of games, you tend to see one half of the field is like attack versus defense, and the other half of the field is attack versus defense for both teams. And there's just a big kind of hole in the middle.
That's crazy.
And if I can adapt to this playing style of lasting up until then, and having the engine then for the last 30 minutes to carry on, I feel like I can have a good impact here in Korea. Because if I can stay with the Koreans and stay at their tempo for 60, 70 minutes, and then I know in my head, right, they're going to dip here because they physically can't go at that pace anymore. If I can find another little gear come the last 20, half an hour a game, I feel like I can have a bit of fun here in Korea, because I'll have a lot of space. But it's just adapting to the first 60, 70 minutes that's going to be a challenge, I reckon.
And Breno, just in terms of I wouldn't say the style of football, in terms of technique of the Koreans and Australian players, is there much of a difference? What's caught your eye in terms of training? Do they stand out with their touch and technique? Just give us a breakdown on that.
Yeah, they're sharp. They're very sharp. Yeah. Their touches on the ball are really good. Just kind of like normal in a couple of sessions, probably in Australia, you can pick out, right, how I can press someone, or how I can defend someone, or how I can get away from someone attackingly. Here in Korea, I'm a month in and I'm still learning how to kind of press a midfielder, or try get away from a midfielder, or try win the ball back from a winger, because they're all technically very gifted. So they don't give you many options to win the ball. If there's a mistake, you've really got to capitalize on it. If not, you might not get a chance in the game. There's probably only 3, 4, 5 times in a game where there's a missed touch or a missed pass, or you're fortunate enough to win the ball back off them, because most teams are that technically good that they keep the ball for long periods, even when they are transitioning. Yep. So dealing with that has been quite difficult, because I found in Australia, because we were trying to build up and play a certain way, that there was more mistakes, and then you can win the ball back, you can kind of start again, kind of through how you wanted to play. Where here in Korea, they're very technically good, that even with not as much tactical knowledge, individually they're very good at keeping the ball, and they're very good in tight areas, they're very good at passing, they're quick, they're very quick, and when they do have a decision, they make it very quick, where it doesn't really allow you to have a second option in your head. You have to win the ball, if not, they're away and gone. So that again in itself adds to the tempo of the game, which is I think, a lot higher than Australian football, and it's something that's been awesome to experience so far. Because even though when you're there and you're training, and sometimes you're looking around going, "What am I doing here? Why am I chasing this chap?" Like it's hard. Like it's hard work. You have to reframe it and think like, I wouldn't be getting this in Australia right now. I wouldn't be getting this where I'm playing right now. Like I'm getting this here, and it's going to make me better. And that's how I've tried to adopt how I'm thinking and training in games.
Awesome.
That's cool. So how is because your coach is Korean? How's the language barrier been? Does he speak English or does?
A few words, like he calls me O'Neilly, not O'Neill. So that's always a good laugh. Like, I know when he's talking about me when he's saying O'Neilly. But yeah, another different thing that I've had to get used to is the language barrier. It's been mental. Obviously, my first time using a translator, and when we're doing drills, whether it be a passing drill, shooting drill, we're working on tactics for the weekend's game. He'll say it all in Korean, and you're just stood there twiddling your thumbs for a good 20 minutes or so, and then the translator will then translate exactly what he said. And sometimes you're like, the coach will be chatting for 5 minutes, and you stood there and you're like, geez, this is a lot of information I'm going to take in. And the translator will just look at you and go, very good session, boys, well done. And you're just like, that couldn't have been it.
No chance.
I could see him pointing to where players should be and where they
translator's having a holiday.
And then the translator wants you to get a drink. And I'm like, that can't be right. So, like, you've got to take it as it is. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. And I think a big thing is, like, being a new player, you have to ask a lot of questions. You have to understand how he wants to play. Because I was so used to playing a certain type of way at Sydney, where you'd almost go into the game that confident in not even just your own job, but everyone around you's job. You'd be just programmed to think that way. Where here in Korea, it's results based. If things are working a certain way and you're winning, it'll continue to go like that. If not, then things will start changing and a few things will happen. But as a football coach, my Pohang manager, he's a legend of the club. He's won a lot of leagues with them. He's won a Champions League with them. He's won numerous FA Cups. Like, he's a successful chap. And every time I've chatted to him with the translator, and especially with my old boy, the situation that I had to go back to Australia, he was unbelievable. So that was good to see. Like, he's not only a pretty good manager and a good footballer, but he's a top guy as well, which was good.
That's cool.
That's
You know,
awesome.
being a translator, I believe, is I have heard very hard job. So you're gonna imagine.
I don't envy his position. I can see him, like, when the coach is like giving directions and stuff, his brain is working overtime. And I don't blame him for simplifying everything, because it's a pretty tough job.
Very hard, yeah. And I'm curious how the facilities are compared to some places, like compared to Sydney, like the training field, like camp and your setup where you live and stuff like that. Or that's connected.
Yeah, it's mad. So where we're at the training, like, I think we were very lucky at Sydney. Like, you never wanted for everything, so I was very lucky with the facilities there. I think a few differences in Pohang is probably 3/4 of the team actually live on campus, live on our training base. So they have breakfast, lunch and dinner there. They sleep there. Before games, we all have rooms at the facility, so we'll stay there the night before the game. There's a full-time chef there. Their gym facilities is world class, and they have everything, literally everything you could think of to run a weight session or a gym session they have. And that was recently done, I think, last season, so it was brand new. And the two main field pitches we've got at the club, they've recently just been returfed as well. So the facilities are really good. Everything you want as a footballer, really, we've got at Pohang. There's probably the biggest difference is, like, lads live there. Lads, literally, probably 3/4 of the team live there. And it's I would go above and beyond a full-time job, especially for them, that they live it. They literally live it day in, day out. They're in the facility, they're eating, they're training, they're sleeping. And these lads come from all over Korea. They come from Seoul, they come from Jeonbuk, Ulsan, So it's amazing to see their life. Us as foreigners, we all kind of live in the same complex, Samsung Sherryville building, and it's beautiful. Yeah, we've not wanted for everything. We came in, we went to IKEA, did the usual bits and bobs, got your furniture in, and but we got here. There was a fridge. There was what else? There was a telly. There was a couch. So they've been really good. And when I came back from Australia, we had to do 14-day isolation period, and I was a bit worried then because I was like, I just want to get back into training. I've missed so much already, and I kind of knew what training was going to be like. I was like, the quicker I get back into it, the fitter I get. And I came back, and they pretty much designed our whole apartment into like a home gym. We had a bike, we had kettlebells, we had dumbbells, we had mats, we had jump mats, we had band, literally everything. And our strength and conditioning fella gave us a program to follow for 14 days that I did. Yeah, no dramas. Even for food, like when we landed, the local kind of market over here is E-Mart, and our club got in touch with the local E-Mart here to make sure, like, every few days they sent us food, so we didn't have to go out of the apartment or anything. They literally went above and beyond to make sure we were all right. So I can't speak highly enough of what, personally, for what they've done since I've come back from Australia.
It must feel good as a footballer, but especially being new to a club when they look after you that well. And like you said, they go above and beyond. I mean, that must fire you inside to really perform when you go out on the pitch this weekend and for future games.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That was a big thing for me, especially probably the one thing I class higher than my footballing is family. And when family is in trouble or something, you put that before anything. So as a new player, going to them to speak about it, I was shitting a brick because I didn't know what they were going to come back to me with. And straight away when I was talking to him about it, you could see he was quite genuine, and the club were quite genuine, and whatever me and Nicole needed, they were there for. So yeah, it was really nice to come back and start afresh with Nicole here, knowing that I had that support already. And I know down there it'll take me longer than 4 or 5 months to kind of understand everything, but I just wanted to let them know that, like, when I'm here, because of what they've kind of done for me, every day I will try my absolute utmost to make sure I give this a red hot crack. And no matter what happens, I just wanted them to know that they've got my full effort while I'm here, because they've shown such really top-notch support since I've been here. So yeah, every chance I'm getting, I'm learning. I'm trying to adapt as best I can, and it's been, like I said, it's been quite cool.
That's awesome. That's cool. All right, we're going to jump back in time and talk about, Brando, how you started the old career. So your time at the Glory.
You've got Dino and Reese here to chat about that.
So I want to, Brando, come on.
So your time at sort of the Perth Glory Youth and the NTC, and how your experience was, especially sort of with the NTC, and the boys can speak a bit about that.
Yeah, the NTC was quality. Obviously, Reece and Dino were a part of that, and a part of the Glory Youth setup when I was a young lad coming through. And that was awesome. We had the privilege of training a lot more than a lot of the younger lads our age did at the time. I think that was crucial for us kind of growing up, that we just got to train. I think it's massive, especially as a young lad going through. If you just constantly train, in reason, obviously don't go mental, but if you're spending an hour to an hour and a half a day as a young lad training, you just do the math on that, and you'll just get better. Somehow, some way, you'll just get better just because you're putting the time and putting the effort in. And we were very lucky. We had a little bit of an advantage on kind of NPL teams now that only do a Tuesday and Thursday session. We were training probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, game Saturday, Sunday sometimes. So NTC and Glory Youth was awesome. Being able to play with Reece and Dino at Glory Youth, especially my first season, was brilliant. You kind of know the type of guys you're playing with. A a lot better when you kind of get to train with them on a kind of full-time basis, and what we were doing in the morning. And then from there, we had Gareth Naven as a coach first up, and he kind of taught you seriously what it was about to be a footballer, and if you wanted to chase it professionally, he kind of dialed into you that you had to do certain things differently to the normal footballer. From probably my first year at Glory Youth, I got to train with the first team, and I think it was the back end of that season I actually got to play my first A-League game. So that was awesome. That was such a cool experience. And from then, as a young lad, your eyes kind of open to the world of professional sport, and you think, how good is this? I'm going to be playing week in, week out if I can continue on this. And from there, from such a high, you just, if you carry on and you get ahead of yourself, you kind of crash. And I had not so much a crash, because I've prided myself on trying to work as hard as I could, but it was just an unfortunate time at Glory for probably the next 4 seasons. I was just on the bench. I was just watching most games. Whenever I did get an opportunity, it was sometimes maybe out of position or for the last 5 minutes of a game. And it was just a difficult time. I just had to keep telling myself I'm down there to work as hard as I can, and whatever happens, happens. I was just living in kind of the Perth bubble, where I thought, this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. This is what I'm going to do. I'm having my family and friends around me, and if I can play for Glory in some capacity, I'll be happy. It didn't probably dawn on me until I had a chat with Graham Arnold after a youth team game that probably being at Perth for the rest of my life, probably I wouldn't fulfill my potential. And I'll always remember that chat with Arnie, saying, we can get you over here to Sydney if you fancy it, if you fancy a new fresh challenge. I can't promise you'll play, I can't promise you opportunities, but we see something in you. As soon as I saw that, I thought, right, I'm on a mission here to give this actually a good go. And I said, if I don't do this now, then I have to be happy with just being a Perth footballer. So Kenny Lowe was the coach at the time, and obviously Reece and Dino grew up playing with Kenny, and I did as well. And I have no hard feelings with Kenny about this, because it was just purely professional. I went in and I was in his office for probably 3 or 4 hours having a chat, and I was trying to convince him to let me go. He was trying to convince me to stay, and it was just a ping pong match back and forth for 3-4 hours. And it just came to a point where I just told him, I said, Ken, look, I'm not leaving this office until we mutually agree to terminate my contract, because I just feel this is what I need now. Finally, after convincing, he said, right, okay, we'll do that now. And we have to do it now. We had 3 months left till the season had finished. We had to do it now. Otherwise, Kenny said if it came to the end of the season, he'd probably change his mind. So then and there, we signed. I was mutually terminated, and I spent 3 months training with ECU, which, thank God for them, they were around Tuesday and Thursday just to try to keep my fitness levels as high as they could be. Sydney made the grand final that year, so talk about throwing myself into the lines. Then and there, I was going from Glory that didn't make the final that year to a grand finalist. My first couple of games didn't get any easier as well. With Sydney, I played 10 minutes against Chelsea and then 15 minutes against Tottenham in the pre-season friendly, just absolutely chasing shadows for them 25 minutes in both games. And then from there, I just made a conscious effort every single day, no matter what was happening in and around me, just to focus on my football. My first season, I was in pre-season, I was kind of getting a little bit of game time, which I was ecstatic about, because I went there with no expectations at all. And just through hard work and perseverance, I started round 1. And from then on, it was the best time in my footballing life. Honestly, I can say that hands down. I haven't experienced Korean football yet, and I'm really eager to, but the 5 years I had at Sydney was just, it went above and beyond every expectation I'd ever had.
But how old were you, Brano, when you started playing, or at Sydney FC? Sorry, so when you
at
first,
Sydney,
yeah,
I was 22 and 21 when I kind of.
And by the sounds of things, Arnie he's got that willingness to give youngsters a go and just give them a crack. And he did it with Trent, he did it with you, and he's got the best out of you, which is great to see, because now your career's blossomed. Obviously sometimes in Perth you get stuck in that. I guess the youngsters are coming through fantastic, but not always getting that go. Whereas you've probably made the right decision with your career going elsewhere, got your opportunity, and you've just excelled from it, which is great.
Yeah, and that's probably the saddest thing about maybe the Perth boys that have to leave to try and gain that further experience, because you could write down on a piece of paper and fill the whole piece of paper the amount of lads that have had to move on from Perth just to try and make a professional living out of the sport. But touching on Arnie, I think in my career to date, there's been a few coaches that I'd pick up the phone now and ring just for advice, and he'd be one of them straight away. As soon as I came in, you could tell that he'd try a player, but you wouldn't just try them for one game. He'd give them a few games to kind of find their rhythm.
Yep.
And then if maybe 3 or 4 games after, if they were just a bit out of sorts, he'd take them out, he'd tell them what they needed to do, he'd give them a rest, he'd get their confidence back up, and then he might throw them in again and see how they're coping. But it was a big thing if you were playing well and you were doing the job for the team, he'd have no hesitation in leaving you in there and seeing what you could do. And yeah, I'd be forever thankful for what he was able to give me leaving Perth and throw me in, like I said, in kind of the deep end. And it was up to me then, either sink or swim. And hopefully, lads, I'm still swimming. I'm still doing the 100 meter freestyle.
Just getting started.
Yeah, that's it.
Bruno, looking back on your Glory career, can you honestly say you think you got given a go? Or do you think over that 4-year spell, whatever, part of the youth team as well, when you were part of the first team, did you actually get given a go, like a proper 3-4 game run-in of 90 minutes?
Yeah. If I had to answer honestly, Reece, and from my heart, nah. I don't think I got a solid. I probably got 2 or 3 games as a centre back that I started the season with, but that was just because we had an injury. As soon as a senior player came back, then obviously you have to go back and you're on the bench. But yeah, it was just a difficult one. It was. I say this to still now to a few people and stuff. You get out to training, and it was almost like even if you trained the house down, you kind of still knew where you were going to be on the weekend. And that was hard.
Almost.
Yeah, it was hard because you feel like you were going all right. You talk to senior lads about how you were going, and they give you positive feedback. Even sometimes the coaches will give you positive feedback. You're doing this well, keep it going. You might get this opportunity here, there, and everywhere. But I just felt at my time at Glory, everything would just always fizzle out. And by the end of it, I was more excited about playing a 90-minute game for the Youth League as a 19, 20-year-old, 221 than I was going down to first team training. And it just dawned on me that wasn't the way. Like, I kind of was at a crossroads then. I was like, do I want to continue this full time? If I do and I want to make a go of it, I think something needs to change. And I think the environment I was in needed to change. If that didn't happen, God knows what I'd be doing. I definitely wouldn't be in Korea now. I definitely don't think that. So, yeah, it saddens me to say, because, like, you know as well as anyone being involved in Perth football, like the people you meet in MPL level, below that, up into the youth, up into Glory, like, they're great people. They love their football in Perth. Like, they're top lads, like, and they're top people to work with. And because it didn't work out at Glory, like, that a part of me still saddens me, because it's my hometown club. It's probably somewhere I want to end up playing at the end of my career because of what's happened, you know. So I feel sad talking about it, because I wish it wasn't the case.
I think the spine, like looking at the Glory team throughout the year, throughout all the years, whatever coach was in, the spine of the Glory team, the centre backs, the centre mids, the strikers have always been senior players. And it's always been so hard for young players. I think we were talking about this before, young players to come in if you're a striker or you're a midfielder, because you're always behind either the marquee or the senior players. Which is really hard.
That like you look at some of the players now, and I don't want to rattle off all of them because there is a lot of them. Like you go back to like your Tags, Jamie McLaren, Ryan Edwards, like Dino and Reese are part of this, and that's how far back it goes. You know, like lads are still playing now. Like it's crazy, great. Like Rizzo, just for a change of scene. Trent, there's Matty Davies now. There's a lot of lads, and I think it's probably it's a difficult one to talk about because Perth is only a one club town, and when you're growing up as a lad in Perth, if you want to play in Australia, obviously you have ambitions to play elsewhere. But if you want to play in Australia, of course you want to play for your hometown club. That's the ultimate, being a WA boy. So to still talk about the kind of sad times I had there. Hopefully I go back and I spend my last couple of years there before I retire, and I have much better experience because I feel like I have unfinished business there. I always talk about I think before I retire, I definitely want to have my last year maybe at Glory, just because it's my hometown club. It'd be nice to finish on that, but because I've built such an amazing connection with Sydney, and I call Sydney my football and home, I don't think I could ever play for any other club in the A-League apart from like Sydney. If I'm having a red hot crack, I couldn't play for any other club just because of what's happened there. But about to retire, and a nice swan song into the sunset to become a dad, to stay at home dad, hopefully. I'll definitely have one more crack with Glory, that's for sure.
That's cool. Did you find when you were at Sydney, I know you said Arnie gave players a good go, which was really good to hear, but did you find that like the first games that you were starting was like it was make or break? Like your performances then and there were going to like if you played it bad, you weren't going to play again?
Yeah, 100%. That's the professional environment you work with. Although you tell yourself like everything under the sun apart from that, that's the reality. Like you have to, if you're there, you do your job, you perform, you'll be left in. If you don't, then you give the manager or you give whoever a chance to take you out and put someone else in. So I thought in them first couple of games, I didn't want to do anything crazy. I didn't want to do anything flash. I wanted to make sure defensively I was sound. I won the ball back for us. And attackingly, all I wanted to do, I didn't want to get forward. I didn't want to score goals. I didn't want to get assists. I just wanted to start the play for us. I just wanted to make sure that the dangerous players in our team was getting on the ball consistently and causing problems for the other team. Because I thought if I do that, then at least I'm trying to add something to the team to give us the best possible chance in order to win the games. And I think our first 3 games we went undefeated, which was like to people, they looked at, say, Ninko scoring or Bobo was scoring or Broski was scoring. But for me, I was just so chuffed that like they were scoring, they were winning the football games because I thought I was adding to that by giving them the ball. So that was like my first taste of professional football, just being in a team that I didn't want to do anything else other than my job. Obviously, from there on, as a footballer, you then have bigger and better ambitions when you're involved in a successful team. And I knew doing my job wasn't going to cut it. And from then on, I then tried as best I could to kind of framework my game around what I was really bad at, get better at that. And then what are my strengths, get better at them even more. So from there, from my first season, I tried as best I could with a few stumbling blocks along the way just to become the best athlete I could possibly be.
Awesome. Yeah. But no, just from me, Graham's obviously a very tactical, astute coach. Did he give you much license to bomb on forward? Because I know you always had, 4 very good players always in front of you. Was it kind of like, look, get the ball, give it to one of them, regain your shape. When we lose the ball, you're ready to regain it if you can? Or was it more of a license-free, you can bomb on and Berlanti might fit in for you? Or was it kind of you two always there screening and that's it?
Yeah, pretty much you've nailed it on the head. Like them 4 players in front of us had a lot of license to attack, have the freedom to kind of do what they want. And it was me and Joshy Berlante's job to win the ball back and play it to them. That was our role for the team. Arnie knew that we had good engines. Arnie knew we were quite sound on the ball. He knew we loved defending, we loved winning the ball back, and we knew if we needed something from long range or we needed longer balls in that game, we had that in our locker. So there was a lot of boxes that me and Joshy ticked for Arnie that could really suit what we were trying to do at Sydney. A few games here and there, just how the game would play, you'd find yourself further forward. And I found in the back end of before Arnie left for the Socceroos, I was kind of, I don't know, subconsciously, but I was kind of finding myself a little bit further forward. And that quite excited me because I thought, this is something that I've not done in a few years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a catch-22 because it was so successful. You were winning week out. You were winning premierships. You were getting to grand finals, and that excited you because I'd never experienced that in my life before. So I was like, as long as I'm involved in doing that, happy days. And me and Joshy built this partnership in there that it was really enjoyable to do that role because normally we do it quite successfully on a weekend and you'd feel up and about. It was probably not until when Stevie Corica took charge, Bimby, that I had a good chat with him in pre-season. I said, look, we've done so much here at Sydney. I think the next step for me personally is adding the attacking game to make me a better player because I felt defensively in my first 2-3 years at Sydney, I was rock solid, but to get to that next level and to get better, which I want to do, that needed to be added to my game. So I made a real conscious effort to pretty much strip my game right back and think, right, what do I need to work on? And I just hammered down every single day. I watched video upon video on what I could add to my game. And probably the last 18 months at Sydney was by far the most enjoyable time I've had as a Sydney FC player, just because I built this game and I was allowed to not only attack but go forward, assist, score goals, have a bit more license to interchain with Ninko, obviously within reason, but because I did it kind of, and it probably sounds bad for me to get better, the team around then kind of understood what I was doing. And then from there, as long as I was able to defend and do my job, I had a lot more license because things were starting to happen further forward to join in attacks and to be able to assist and score goals, which I love.
Yeah, that's cool. Brando, when Corica came in, tell us a little bit about that, because I know really successful under Graham Arnold, and for me, I really looked like Corica didn't change much. And you kind of it was just a morph system. It was really similar, and you kind of played in the same system almost over the whole that 5-year period. But how was it like being in such a similar position? As I said, were you just focused on just being the best you could be all the time? Because like from an outside perspective, it looked like it was so similar, and like no one could beat you. To be fair, the team was so good, but like it was so like the same every week, but it was the same good. But did you want to change at some times?
Yeah, like you said, when Arnie left, because we built such a winning template in Sydney where we were so used to success and we knew what it looked like and we knew what we could achieve in the A-League, like season in, season out. If we did what we thought was right in that template we created, more often than not, you'd go into games confident you were going to win. And if you were winning, if you were winning more football games, you were going to be thereabouts at the end of the season. And if you were thereabouts at the end of the season, your chance of making the grand final was always higher. So when that template was there, like if it's not fixed, like if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing. If it's still going, like we were still winning football games. We were still reaching premierships and grand finals. And I think apart from that side of things, what Sydney FC have always gotten right is they don't just get good footballers in that understand the system that can play to it. They get good people in, like they're genuinely dead set good human beings that come into that club. And that makes probably more of a difference than it does the football ability. Because on the pitch, if you're having a rough day or the team's having a rough day and then you're arguing on the pitch, your hands are flapping here, there and everywhere, you're not in a good headspace, the only way is down. Like, if you're having a bad football game, you've got good blokes around you that are still running, they're still chasing, they're giving you positive encouragement, they're giving you good feedback. More often than not, you still pick up results even though you don't play well. It's strange how that always seemed to happen at Sydney. Not only with the winning template and the winning formula that we created. When Bimby, Stevie Corica, took charge, it was almost a sense of like, I felt I was ready to have a new challenge and go and chase. Like I keep saying, like, I'm just a lad that just wants to get better. As long as I'm playing football and I don't care where it is, I want to try things and I want to just get better until I can't get any better, until I lace up my boots. And when Bimby took over, I had a chat with him and he knew where my head was. If there was an opportunity that arose where I could go and challenge myself, Bimby was all for it, and Sydney were never going to stand in the way of doing that. Apart from that, as long as I was a Sydney FC player, then I thought, okay, I've won things, but like, have I become a Socceroo? Have I added goals to my game? Have I added assists to my game? Have I done more than what my job had been at Sydney FC? And I honestly could answer that, no, I hadn't. So that was me drive then. Not only continuing on the success we had at Sydney FC, but to become a better player, not just a good A-League player. Like, I wanted to be the best midfielder in Australia. I wanted to be then the most successful person at Sydney. Like, I just wanted to set goals that, like, sometimes they weren't going to be achieved, but if I was striving towards them, I knew I was going to get better. And then all of a sudden, through that 18-month cycle, like, I got to represent my country. I got to play in front of family and friends in that grand final at home in Perth. Like, stuff I'd never fucking dream of doing. And then things just started happening. So it was just crazy to see it may not happen straight away. It may not happen that day. It may not happen that week or that year. But on a daily basis, if you can control what's inside your control and have the discipline to carry that out every single day, it's very weird and very uncanny how things start lining up when you least expect it. And I was just so grateful and so humbled that I was able to experience probably the best two things in my life, apart from getting married to Nicole, was the Socceroos debut and winning a grand final back home in front of family and friends.
Yeah. Brano, describe that moment. You got the call from, it was Arnie's, and he was the coach, wasn't he? Just the moment, the emotions that went through your head, and I guess not just for yourself, but for everyone, I guess that helped you along that path as well, your family, your friends.
Yes.
The moment.
So normally, the week before the grand final, you go to A-League Awards nights, and me and Jules got doled up, and we went to that as a part of Sydney, and he was there, and I normally just go over and have a good chat with him, have a good laugh and stuff. Especially now he's not the manager of Sydney FC. You can kind of have more of a laugh, and you can go to the pub with him and you can have a drink. Like, he's that laid back and that good about things. And we were just having one of our normal chats, and we were just in a group of players, and he kind of said, "Brano, can I have a quick chat to you?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." Like, and then all of a sudden I thought, have I done something wrong? Have I said something wrong? I don't know what. And then he, like, literally all he said was, "I'm calling you up." And it didn't dawn on me. I was just, calling me up, what the? And then, like, all of a sudden it just was like, yeah, like, this is right, okay. And then just I thought, I don't know why I said this, but I just said, like, are you sure? Like, and he goes, yeah, for the next friendly in Korea after the grand final, you're getting a call up. Don't tell anyone now. Obviously enjoy grand final week. And he said, just be prepared for that after grand final week. So honestly, after that, grand final week was, again, apart from my wedding day, the best week of my life. Like, I got to share that experience with my family back in Perth and play a grand final. So that whole week was just like, every morning you wake up and you feel like you've won the lottery. Like, every single morning you think, I've got 50 million like bangers in the bank. There's no worry in the world at all. You just get to live out your dream. Like, I knew I was going to be in a Socceroos camp. I didn't know I was going to play, but I knew I was going to be involved in that setup, something I'd been striving towards for so long. And then on top of that, I was able to play a grand final in Perth again in front of family and friends, something that I'll never get to experience ever again, but something I thought I'd never experienced in the first place. So yeah, that week was just undescribable, honestly, undescribable. And like to share it with, like, to be able to ring the old man, like obviously Rishi, Dino, you know him, like to ring him, he's football mad. He lives and breathes it. Like he's got the only way you can watch Korean football over here now if he gets a Bet365 account. He's got that in his telly already. Kickoff's not on Sunday, and it's set up because he just loves it. And since a young lad, like he lived and breathed it with me. He was there even when he visited in Sydney, like all the lads knew, that's Miles on the hill over from Perth, that's Brano's dad, he's watching training. Like that's just him. He just lives and breathes it. And it was probably one of the proudest moments of my life, ringing him and saying, yeah, I've been able to get called up for the Socceroos, and then winning the grand final, then going to the Socceroos camp, then make me start in debut. Like I didn't even come off the bench for them. I started. Like that whole probably month was just amazing, absolutely amazing.
That's so cool.
Frano, I just want to go back. Sorry, Frano. It sounds like, roughly 2 years ago now, you really had a mindset change where you kind of were with Sydney and everything was for the team and doing your job and that's it. And then the way you were describing it, it's like your mindset kind of changed and you're like, hang on, I need to do more for myself here to progress myself and do that little bit extra. And then it seems like that's when things start to fall into place with you. Is that how you're going about your football now? So yes, you're still holding that, you work within a team environment, but you have more personal goals that you set for yourself now. And it's more about Brandon O'Neill rather than Sydney FC and the front four. And then, you got to say, and then Brandon O'Neill's doing a good job in that. That kind of goes on the radar. Is it more about Brandon O'Neill now?
Yeah, it's, I think it all started when we lost the semi-final to Melbourne Victory. We won the league by 16 points. In a normal league, you're celebrated as the league winners.
Was that Terry Antonis? Terry Antonis scored 2 goals. I scored a goal in after his own goal. Was that? Yeah, that was the game.
That's when Tez scored, and I tried to catch him, couldn't catch him, and that traveling around here, there, and everywhere now. But me and Tez are good mates, and at least we can laugh about it. So it's grand. If it was anyone else, like I'd be like, Jesus, but Terry's actually really good mate. Because I was fumbling my way trying to catch him. I've tripped over. I look like an absolute dog. Anyway, it was after that game that we were getting, me and Nicole get married. Thank God I had something to put my spirits up because obviously we weren't playing in the grand final. So we went away. We had a brilliant wedding. We went on a honeymoon, and it was dead set. It was the honeymoon that I had 10 days where we could sit there. No real phones, no nothing. We were just on a beach and around the pool, and I could just think about everything. And that season that we won the league by 16 points, I hated that season. Like when I sat down and I thought about what I was doing day in, day out and what I was doing for the team, I just hated it. Hated everything. And we won the league by 16 points. We were a game off the grand final. And I hated every single minute of that league because I wasn't being the best person I could be. I was rocking up to training. I'd train for an hour. I'd quickly eat my lunch and then I'd be home and I'd sit on the couch and watch telly and that'd be it. Like I wasn't doing anything to better myself. And to answer your question, Rishi, like from there on in, it was a big mindset shift to think, okay, I've got my roles and responsibilities for the team, yes. And I've got to make sure first and foremost to do that because the team is more important than the individual to get success. But on the flip side, to be the best to be the best person possible, you have to make sure that you're finding ways and means to get better. And that was literally my life for 18 months after that Sydney. It was every day, all right, what am I bad at? What am I? Can I get up the pitch? Can I get back to defending? Can I create an assist within 3 repetitions? So I thought, no, I can't do that. So I went to the strength and conditioning fellow. I thought, right, we need to work on my repeated efforts to make sure I can make that distance to do them things. From there, I thought, right, I'm not getting enough assists. Why is that? I'm not further up enough higher off the pitch. I look at video then. I go, all right, in these games I can do this. Free kicks, am I hitting the target? Like sprints wise, am I doing enough sprints? Like there was, and then that was just in the football sense. Out of football, I was thinking, am I eating right? Am I sleeping? Am I recovering? How is my mindset? Like I delved down all them rabbit holes as best I could. And when I started doing that, it wasn't straight away. It wasn't like you flicked a switch and one day I'm a Sydney FC midfielder, and the next day we've won the grand final or I've been able to represent my country. It was a slow process. Like I said, like if you can find your daily disciplines that you know that are going to make you better, if you can stick to that daily, it just has a funny way of, the world has a funny way of coming together to put you in the right position at the right place to become the best you. And I'm kind of experiencing that now in Korea. I know I've got a role and responsibility here in Korea, and I know it's going to take me time to adapt. But on the flip side in my head, I'm going, whatever I'm experiencing here in Korea is making me better. And I wouldn't have that opportunity if I was playing at Sydney FC now. So whilst I'm here, sometimes it might not seem that I'm getting better. Sometimes I feel like I've got 2 left feet at training. Like I might not be standing out in the game, but from where I've come to where I am now, if I reframe in my head, I'm excited to see where I am in a year, in 2 years' time, because I feel like I've built this daily discipline about myself with help with the best possible team around me to just become the best Brandon O'Neill I can physically, mentally and emotionally be. And then when it's all over, when I hang my boots up, hopefully when I'm 40 and I can't walk anymore, I can look myself in the mirror and I said, I literally gave as much of me and as much sacrifice as I could to become the best footballer I can be. And it goes back to training, game days. Like if you prepare for a game day as best you can, on that game day, no matter what result it is, if it's 3, 4, 5 in your favour, you draw or you lose, as long as you prepared as best you can for that game, no matter what happens, you can look yourself in the mirror and go, I can be proud of my effort there. I can be proud of what I've achieved in that game because you did everything in your power for that to happen. And that's how I'm just trying to live day to day, live round to round in my season, and then all said and done, hopefully trying to the way I'm living my career.
That's awesome. That's cool. Brando, I'll quickly ask you about the grand final at Glory. Tactical stalemate, in my opinion, and to play in it, I want to know what it was like, because it just looked like, I mean, it was such an interesting game to watch. It was very intriguing, but like to play in it, like the
you can say it was boring. You can say it was boring.
It was boring, but then like I want to know, but like from a coach's perspective, it wasn't boring. Like I know. So as a player, how did it feel to play in that game and win?
Yeah, from both coaches and both teams, it was probably one of the most intense football games I've ever played on. If you switched off for 30 seconds, Castro scored. If you switched off for 30 seconds, Ninko set Broski up for a goal. It was that intense that you knew both footballing teams were the best footballing teams in the country at the time, and you knew one wrong move, one mistake, and that was it. It was game over. So literally for 120 minutes, your brain could not leave that pitch, could not leave your role and responsibility. It couldn't, because you gave that little slightest inch to the other team. And because they're such a great team, they're going to take it. So you could kind of tell 50, 60 minutes into the game where it was going. Like probably the 75th minute, I looked up and I thought, right, we've got extra time coming here. And after that, there's penalties. So probably 75 minutes in, I got myself ready for penalties in my mindset. I knew I was taking one, because it was just how the game was going. Like no one was switching off. And for a spectator, it probably looked like a boring game of football, but for me, I just always refer to it as a chess match. One wrong little move, and it could have been like, literally that could have been it. So yeah, it was probably the most intense football game I've played in.
Wow, that's cool. That's
awesome.
I refer back to that final. I remember I always felt Sydney just had the slight edge, because I always remember the one-on-one battle with Ryan Grant and I think it was the Economy.
Yeah.
But I think Ryan just smashed him. You know, I think economy just like shied away from it, and that like for me, like looking back and like reviewing, I was like, that's like a little turning point there where you just see like he wasn't going to back down from anything. That boy.
Literally, Rhino. One thing about Buster, he froths. Like, he absolutely loves when people get stuck into him. And like, as soon as the Glory Perth crowd got stuck into him, he wasn't taking a pen out. Immediately, once that extra time finished, he went up to Bimby and he was like, "I am taking a pen out. I'm scoring this, and I'm going to celebrate in front of." That's just the character he is. Like, he feeds off it. He loves it. So yeah, I think he was down. He definitely wasn't in the first five. I think he could have been 6th, 7th, or 8th. And he took the third penalty maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Decent pen.
Just to rub it in the Glory faces. So yeah, it was that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. All right, boys, do you have anything else to shoot Brandon's way?
Yeah, one last thing from me, Bruno. Thanks for speaking for this long, by the way.
No problem.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? You know, what are your goals? Is it to stay in South Korea? Is it to play at the highest possible level? Is it to get as much money and then retire? What is the goal?
Yeah, I wanna play at the highest level possible. I'm here in Korea now to enjoy the experience and to learn and get better, but I don't want to be in Korea for the rest of my football and life. Although you come over here to Asia and a part of you, it kind of opens your mind to life after football, because you can, in Asia, you can set not only yourself but your future family's life up here. And I've noticed that here. I've noticed that after football, if I did spend the next 8, 9, 10 years in Asia at that, my family would live comfortably and we'd have a happy and fruitful life, which is awesome. Like, things that you can buy a house, you can buy a property, you can pay that off, you can make sure your mum and dad are comfortable, you make sure family and friends, if they ever need anything, they can be comfortable. Like, that avenue, the lad being I am and what I can help with, what I can achieve here, like, obviously that's such a added bonus. But on the flip side, like, I've always had a dream, and I don't know what entices me there, and maybe the lifestyle and the people and the passion, but I'd always love to play in England. I'd always love to play there. I'm a mad Leeds fan. If I ever got to play for Leeds, if I played one game, that'd be it. That I'd retire after that. But yeah, I've always looked at the lifestyle in England, the way people love the football over there. I kind of look at my game, and if I was able to get to that level, like I said, I don't shy away from my defensive duties, but I also love attacking and I love scoring or assisting. And I think that's a cool league, whether it be Championship, League One, touch wood, imagine back in Premier League, but like I said, I'm here to number one at this present stage. If you ask me where I want to go, like, I want to play at the highest level possible. To get there, I know daily I've got to continue to do what I'm doing, trying to better myself in every aspect I can, and trying to embrace all the challenges that come my way in order to get myself to where I want to be. And on the flip side, if I do all that, like, and I'm happy with my effort in all that department, and I don't reach England or don't reach another league, I'd be happy then to continue to work as hard as I can here in Asia for that second reason. For I know in the back of my mind, my future family, when me and Nicole have kids, when my mum and dad are struggling, when my friends or whoever are struggling, to be in a position where, like, after football, I don't want to put my family and friends through what they're currently going through at the minute. And I don't want to put myself through that, because as a footballer and a professional athlete, you sacrifice a hell of a lot. You sacrifice your daily routine is all about how you can become a better footballer and how you can strive to become a better athlete. When I'm finished, I don't want my life to be like that anymore. I want to be able to drop my kids to school. I want to be able to go and, like, I like, since my wife's got into CrossFit, that appeals to me because it's another challenge. Like, it's another crazy second thing that I can sink my teeth into. I love me horse racing. Like, that's something I might be able to explore. Hopefully not lose all my money that I've made, but explore into maybe tipstering or being on the form panel, or like, I don't want to drag my career out when I'm done, when I'm finished, because at the end of it, I just want to look back on it and think I gave literally every last bit of myself in my career. So yeah, if I can be happy and I can look myself in the future and think I've done all of that, I'll be one happy chap.
Class, Breno. Just quickly from me, just any advice for all of our young footballers that are listening?
Yeah, I think two main things is train. Just no matter how small you think it is, I think as a young lad coming through, if you're willing to put more hours in than your competitor, your teammate, a younger lad, an older lad, I think somehow, some way you'll get better just because you're putting the work in. But whilst you're doing that, you have to, like, if you're choosing to do that and you take that step, you've got to enjoy it. You have to enjoy that experience of like looking yourself in the mirror and looking around and thinking like, I'm working hard here, like I'm enjoying it, and then seeing the fruits from your labour. So I think a big thing, working as hard as you can within reason, not going stupidly, but when you're having that passion to work hard, like genuinely enjoy it, because if you're able to play football for a living, there's no better job in the world. No better job being able to, and it might not be football, it might be any other job out there. If you genuinely love what you do, like I can see it now with you lads, like you genuinely love being in a vicinity where you can help people with their football, but also give people an avenue to play football. And you love football. I know both of you lads do. So you love what you do now. You're able to live and breathe it. And I think with everyone, whether it be a young lad growing up wanting to be a footballer or whatever they want to do, if they work hard and they genuinely love it, I don't think you can go far wrong from success.
Love it.
That's awesome. Brandon, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Your words of wisdom and lots of good stories to tell. So it was really good. Thank you.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's been awesome.
Cheers, Breno.
Appreciate it, Breno.
For the weekend.
No dramas. Thanks, lads. Really
Stay safe.
I will. See you, boys.
See you, Breno.
So,